I'm Rachel.
Standing in the middle of a once lively apartment now filled with stunned silence, I watch as the police lead my father away in handcuffs. His head is bowed, and his once composed demeanor is completely shattered. It's a scene I never thought I'd witness, especially not at my brother's housewarming party. But here we are, and it's all the result of a series of events that started long before this moment. I grew up in a small town in Texas, in what most people would consider a typical working-class family. My father, Henry, was a foreman at a local factory. He was a strict man, always believing that family unity was the most important thing. My mother, Martha, was a schoolteacher. She was kind-hearted on the surface, but always seemed to side with my father's views, no matter what. I have a younger brother, Jake, who is 3 years younger than me. From a young age, I was the responsible one. I got good grades, did my chores without being asked, and always tried to be the best daughter I could be. Jake, on the other hand, was more free-spirited. He was always getting into small troubles, but was also my parents' favorite. My parents constantly drilled into my head that family came first. They'd say things like, "Family helps family," and "blood is thicker than water," in every conversation. I never questioned it. I just thought that's how families were supposed to be. When I was 18, my father asked to be added as a co-owner of my bank account. "Just in case something happens, I can help you out," he said. I trusted him completely, so I didn't think twice. I landed a good job at a software company in the city after graduating from college. I worked hard, took on extra projects, and slowly started saving up for my dream. I wanted to buy a small house in the suburbs, a place where I could have my own garden and live a peaceful life. I was careful with my money, avoiding unnecessary expenses. After 8 long years of hard work and sacrifice, I had saved up almost $150,000. I was so close to making my dream come true. A few weeks ago, we had a big family reunion to celebrate my father's 55th birthday. The party was held at my parents' house, with all our relatives present. Everyone was having a great time, but I noticed something strange. My father and Jake kept whispering to each other and would glance at me from time to time. Aunt Lucy, my father's sister, pulled me aside towards the end of the party. "Rachel, you've given enough. Be careful," she said with a worried look in her eyes. I just laughed it off and thought she was being paranoid. 3 days later, my world came crashing down. I was at my desk at work, looking over some reports, when I received an email notification from my bank. The subject line read, "Transaction Confirmation." I thought it was just spam, but something made me look closer. When I checked my banking app, my heart sank. My savings account balance was 0. I couldn't believe my eyes. I called the bank immediately, my hands shaking. The customer service representative confirmed that a large transfer had been made from my account, authorized by my father, the co-owner. I was in shock.
How could he do this to me?
I called my father right away. When he answered the phone, there was no guilt in his voice. Jake was in trouble. His business was failing and he owed a lot of money to the bank. "I had to help him," he said calmly. I was furious. That was my money, my savings for my future. I shouted. But he just replied, "You have a good job.
You can earn it back.
Jake needs this more than you." That night, I called my friend Tom, a lawyer who specialized in financial fraud cases. He listened to my story and told me that what my father had done could be considered bank fraud and identity theft. He also reminded me that the bank had a 72-hour window to dispute the transaction. I was desperate to get my money back, but at the same time, I didn't want to send my father to prison. I reached out to a colleague, Lisa, who is an expert in digital forensics. She analyzed the electronic signature on the transfer confirmation and found out that it was forged. The IP address traced back to my parents' house, and the timestamp showed it was done in the middle of the night when I was asleep. This was clear evidence of identity theft. I confronted my parents, demanding that my father return the money within 24 hours. My mother pleaded with me, saying that I was being ungrateful and that I was ruining the family. But I was done being the obedient daughter. I told them that if the money wasn't returned, I would file a police report. The 24 hours passed and no money was returned. So I went to the police. The detective assigned to my case, Detective Miller, was a serious-looking woman in her 50s. She reviewed all the evidence I had gathered and opened an investigation. As soon as the family found out that I had filed a report, the attack started. I received angry messages from my mother, texts from Jake telling me I was dead to him, and calls from relatives scolding me for betraying my family. My father even called me, threatening me and saying that the police would never believe me over him, as he had a good reputation in the town. Then, I saw Jake's Facebook post about his housewarming party. It was a beautiful apartment in a nice area of the city. I did the math and realized that the down payment was most likely for my stolen money. I also noticed that I wasn't invited. Aunt Lucy left a comment on the post, asking Jake where he got the money for the down payment. Jake's vague reply only confirmed my suspicions. I decided to make a bold move. When Detective Miller asked me about the timing of the arrest warrant, I suggested doing it at the housewarming party. There would be many witnesses, and I wanted the truth to be exposed. And so, here we are. As the police take my father away, the guests are in shock. Jake stands there, speechless, with a champagne glass still in his hand. My mother collapses on the couch, sobbing. I look around at the mess and realize that this is a turning point in my life. I walk up to Jake and say, "You and Dad hurt me deeply. You took my future away with that money. You should have known better." He tries to say something, but I cut him off. I'm done. I'm not going to let this family keep taking advantage of me. I leave the apartment, with Aunt Lucy following me. She gives me a hug and says, "You did the right thing, Rachel. It takes a lot of courage." In the following weeks, my father's case went to court. He eventually took a plea deal, which included probation and full restitution of my money. Jake was forced to sell the apartment at a loss, and his real estate business collapsed. My mother has withdrawn from social activities, and many of my relatives have distanced themselves from me. But I don't care. I've finally set boundaries for myself. 6 months after the arrest, I signed the papers for my new house. It's not exactly the one I originally dreamed of, but it's mine. As I stand on the porch, looking at the garden where I plan to plant flowers, I know that I've made the right choice. I've chosen myself, and it was the hardest but most worth it thing I've ever done.